tuning, specifically on tuning your last few kind of steps when following the Mark Spatz or UAV Tech method. I'll put that link in the comments here. I use Mark Spatz information and his amazing walkthroughs on tuning to try to do my best on learning how to tune. Luckily, with Betaflight 4.2 and some of the previous ones, we have these awesome sliders, and now in 4.2, we have a really pretty in-depth methodology that if you can learn how to use the sliders on how to manipulate the numbers properly, the method that I take is taking Mark's method and expanding it to basically be able to fly 3 flights at a time and be able to kind of get a little bit of a quantitative comparison, if you would. It's just the way my brain works really well. It helps me learn. I honestly can't dive into tuning and understand the actual fundamentals very well. When Mark explains it, I start to understand it, and then there becomes a point of just overwhelming kind of information overload. So what I try to do is I try to find a baseline using his methodology, and once I have that kind of baseline where I feel like it can move one way or the other, I then use my profiles. So in this situation, again, I do this throughout the entire tuning process. So really after that first one and I guess at, my next flight is I come in and I set 3 profiles up differently. So this profile here is the one that I currently am flying. I think it's really well tuned. The only thing that before this was set was I had feed forward turned off. Now that I'm done with the tune, like Mark suggests, I'm now integrating my feed forward. So that's where I've moved this feed forward, and I don't remember where I just put it. I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect and reconnect real quick. I just didn't want to save that. Okay, 1.4. So I moved it to 1.4, and I put the feed forward transition at 0.35. So I can go fly this and see how it feels, but to me, I need to equate it to something else. So this is where you can do this not just with feed forward. You can do this with PD balance, PD gain, or master multiplier. But basically, I'm just going to move one thing different. So everything is the same. Now this one you saw, the stick response goes from 1.4 to 1.2. And I did that specifically because I want to see if I need less stick response or I need a little more. If I fly the first one and I like it, then I fly the second one and I notice something different, I can decide between the two what felt more right. So from there, I then have profile 3. Now profile 3, I pushed the I'm going to push the stick response up. So we're going to actually go up to 1.6 on this stick response. Actually, I'm going to, 1.6. So this is going to give me the other direction. So now when I save all this, again, I've got everything set up identical. So whenever I fly, the tune is the same. The only thing we're checking is the stick response. And actually, I lied. This one was actually supposed to stay at 1.4. And the reason why is you'll see right here, I moved the transition to 0.6. So I'm changing the amount of transition here, but leaving the amount of stick response comparative to that first profile, right? So that first profile, it's identical, but we've got a 0.35 feed forward transition, which is a harder transition. So basically there's more, at 1, there's no transition, and at 0, it's basically full transition. So at 0.35, we're on the high end of the transition. So number 3, we're actually running 0.6, and that's going to be on the lower side of the transition line. So I know again, you're going to need to watch Mark's videos to understand what that means, but this just shows you that basically from these 3 profiles, I'm going to take what is the final tune, and hopefully within a quick couple of flights, be able to figure out which direction I need to go for that stick response and feed forward. So hopefully this helps you out. I over talked it way too much as usual. Just fly safe, fly smart, just fly. That's QSL at the bench. All right. Thanks for watching. Peace.